Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is Really versus Peace, and it's a time warp. Going back to Estro versus MBC Game 1, Hive versus Light was actually Game 2. So if you were paying attention last match and you saw what the score was, this might be spoiled for you. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? 9 o'clock position, we have Peace as the red zerg. 3 o'clock position, we have Really. And honestly, neither of these guys really feel like they're of note. Really is kind of a mediocre Terran player. He's not horrible like a lot of the Terran out there, but he's solidly mediocre. He's not deliciously mediocre like, say, Zero. But yeah, I think he's just kind of thrown in there alongside Peace, and this is just one of those games where both teams are like, whatever, we just need someone to get some experience, so let's just throw these guys out on Heartbreak Ridge. And I think that's going to end up favoring Really, because this is a terrible map for Zerg players. Something like 70% of Terran end up winning on this map. Two-port Wraith very strong. There's a lot of ramps and ridges to work with. I'm not sure why Zerg players don't end up going 2-hatch Muta and trying to exploit that same kind of general area. Maybe it's just because Terran end up going to two-port Wraith so often. Who knows? Anyway, I really don't think this is going to be all that spectacular a game, but I just feel like doing commentary. And I said I was going to do this entire set because I heard it was really, really fun. Game 3, which I'm going to be, hopefully, maybe I'll get it done tonight. Most likely I'll end up doing it tomorrow, is going to be Up Magic versus Hyun, and then we're going to finish it off with Sangho versus Jehun. And I hear the closer is Something to Behold, and I already know who's playing in that. So just a spoiler, there will be an ace match if you guys are keeping up with all of this. But yeah, by the way, this is going to be a one beer end of the day commentary. So I apologize for any slurring ahead of time. Not that I'm a lightweight or anything. Just one of those days, you know? I think you guys know. Anyway, it looks like I don't understand why Terran players do that. Is there something about building that engineering bay first that helps you put down your barracks? I've seen that a couple times from Firebat Hero as well. Maybe someone can explain to me what the mechanic advantage of that is. But it looks like both players just going for standard openings here. 12 hatch on one side. Looks like we're just seeing a barrack after supply depot on the opposite side, or barracks if you prefer. There's many Marines housed in them. And one by one they send them out. Explain that. They're all just kind of chilling in there, scared I guess. They have to be paid to... Maybe that's like their prison thing, because we saw from that StarCraft 2 thing that maybe that's what it's like. If you sit in there, it's just this gigantic floating prison, and eventually it just takes time to equip out a Marine and put an inhibitor on him so he doesn't end up shooting his own SCV teams. And how terrible must it be to be an... Okay, if the prisoners end up being Marines, how crappy off do you have to be an SCV in this world? Sheesh. Anyway, Zerg, looks like that's Peace. He's going to put down a spawning pool and gas to support this. Honestly, all indicators, I think we're going to see a 2-hatch build. Just from the feel of it. I'm getting that good in my commentaries where I can just sense the builds mid, whatever. No, it's he just kind of looks like he's setting up for that. He's getting that gas down fairly quickly, and it looks like he's going to get some Zerglings to support that and try to at least kill that SCV scout into the mid game. And this has been a pretty popular build for Zerg players recently, is going for that 12 hatch and then putting down the gas and spawning pool immediately after, trying to kill that SCV scout as best they can. And then kind of transitioning to 2-hatch build just because it's been difficult on a lot of the maps, just because of the way the maps are balancing. But Zerg have been absolutely dominating their opponents lately. Just, I don't know what it is. Micro, macro, I'm not sure. Looks like Really is actually just going to... Oh, no, never mind. Thought he was going to forgo that altogether. The other nice thing about producing those Zerglings early is you can force either a bunker or additional Marines to kind of surface on that front door, which delays additional production, because instead of producing a barracks, you're producing those additional Marines. And it also ends up being successful for Zerg, because as we saw in Game 2, when you can go in and harass at multiple locations, that just puts pressure on the Terran player. It looks like he's going to put that bunker on the front. Keep in mind, Zergling run by is still very possible. And I'm not quite sure what... I've seen a lot of Terran players doing this as well, and I'm not quite sure what... Because I don't play Zerg. I should start playing Zerg, and there's the run by. Go, Zerglings, go! SCV getting in there and really doing a nice block. It looks like one Marine might, yeah, does lose his life. 4 Zerglings still managed to get through, but that SCV was just like a road stop, man. They talk about, you know, they talk about speed bumps as the sleeping policeman. That was totally like that. That SCV was an excellent speed bump right there, and it looks like these Zerglings will be able to get a couple kills and clean things up. Otherwise, doesn't look like they're going to be able to slow any tech down, and that's really the ultimate goal of throwing a Zergling in there, is to be able to... Wow, it looks intense. He's like, gonna make my SCVs to destroy you, and it doesn't look like it's gonna happen though. A couple more Zerglings coming to the front, maybe just to ward off that SCV scout. That's the other thing, is by throwing those that's kind of a micro advantage by throwing those SCVs out in the field. Is if the Terran player is still trying to micro his SCV around his base. Wow, actually nice, doing pretty well with these Zerglings, going to the bonus with that speed. And there's that Spire for that 2-hatch Spire build. Again, this has been pretty popular for Zerg players recently. And it looks like, okay, so no, that's Hero, actually, who's doing all the funny faces. He's the one who's like, gonna kill your Zergling. Go, Zergling, go! I'm actually rooting for the Zerg player here. And there's that 3rd hatch at the, oh, this is going to be difficult. Wow, he's really concerned. That's much more concern I would have in general. But anyway, I like this build that Zerg players have been throwing out. Looks like that SCV Scout just kind of hanging out to the side and going to be sent right back in. Because really, that's the key. I really feel like that's the key to those Zerglings, is that forces that SCV Scout to be microed a little bit harder. And either you have to micro at your base to defend the SCVs and the Marines and things like that, or you're trying to micro that SCV around. Either way, you end up killing the Scout, and then you can go transition to your next layer of build, which could be 3-hatch in theory, but most of the time ends up being 2-hatch. At least that's what Zerg have kind of worked with. So you guys can try that in your games. It's pretty good. It's pretty effective about killing the SCV Scout. I assume. Again, I don't play a lot of Zerg or Terran, but I know it's annoying just because I can sense it. A couple Zerglings again testing that front door. Sorry, my voice giving out. Again, been talking all day on the phones. 2 more barracks going down. Looks like we're going to see SK Terran built right here. 2 comsat stations going down just to keep an eye on things. Single Overlord just checking out that SCV saturation. And now a large medic marine force starting to push out that front door. And now it looks like some Mulisks produced. The other nice thing about doing that sort of thing is instead of investing sunken colonies earlier, you can actually use your Mulisks to try to take that down, maybe spare yourself a sunken colony or 2, force the Terran into a kind of contained maneuver. Unfortunately, for peace here, I think the turrets are going to be there. Actually, maybe not. They look a little bit off time. No, the Mulisks are going to be able to get in before those turrets are up. That bunker is really going to help out, though, because it's still going to do damage to those Mulisks, and it looks like if those Mulisks aren't too careful, those SCVs still going to be able to get stuff done. And it looks like, oh man, that's a little bit unfortunate, because if he had cycled back around to the main, the turrets were not even close to going up there. And it looks like, yeah, now he's got some barracks and Marines in position to kind of defend. Now it's just waiting on weapons 1 to just push that up, and the Mule's continuing, actually doing a fantastic job harassing over the secondary. I expected some turrets up on the ridge or a couple Marines to hang out there, but that's not happening. Now the medic Marines kind of pushing out the field to draw these Mulisks back into a defensive position, being very successful at least in doing that. And it looks like this is, I wish I'd seen game 1 instead of game 2, because this looks like a direct rip-off of Hiva's build, and it looks like all Estro Zergs are going to start trying to employ this, so maybe they'll end up being more successful. I don't know how many Zerg players in general, because again, I haven't been able to watch a lot of Pro League, have been able to employ this, but nice Mulisk micro, able to take out a significant amount of Marines, but losing 2-3 Mulisks as a result, and that hurts, because you need to keep those Mulisks alive as long as possible, specifically to maintain map control, but also if you are in fact going into the Greater Spire, things like that, which I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to plop down and just go Lurker into the mid game here. But if you do in fact do that, you need to conserve as many Mulisks as possible. You need to maintain them, and actually he may be doing that because he's got all-in Mulisks this stage. I don't see any other troops that are really being built on the ground, so it looks like it's just going to be Mutalisk, Mutalisk, Mutalisk. Unfortunately, the key to this build is damaging the Terran's economy enough, keeping them back long enough for you to get enough gas and basically speed up the Guardians and things before Science Vessels and Irradiate are out, specifically, or any Wraith. And unfortunately, while he's trying to pound the front door, some Medic Marines slipping through, they're starting to attack that front door. They're going to force some sunken colonies to be built there, and it looks like there's nowhere, nothing, not even close to, 2 Mutalisks, 3 Mutalisks getting killed without even, oh man, that hurts a lot, without any effect at all, and really just been like, yep, I can kill Mutalisks like nothing else, no biggie. So nice facial expressions on these 2 players, I have to say, and that's really making this game interesting. But really abusing that ridge, well, the Mutalisks trying to abuse that ridge, not being very successful at it. This is the thing, I'm surprised that Terran have been so successful. Oh, more Mutalisks getting annihilated. The horror. The horror. Yeah, and those Mutalisks aren't going to get anything done. Particularly, they do have weapons 1 upgrade, but with this weapons 1 upgrade on the Marines, and they're pure numbers, they're not going to be able to stop that. And just an evolution chamber going down, no Mutalisks out in the field. He's not going to be able to defend this bottom left-hand base. Even with that weapons 1 for the Mutalisks, they're just going to have to bunch up. They're running headlong. Too many have been lost. It's just going to be a losing battle. Another Mutalisk taken out. 2 more Mutalisks taken out. And I do believe that is going to be it. The Medic Marine forces can just reinforce or just hold this position if they feel like it, maintain a degree of map control, and the Science Vessels should be out in not too long. And now it almost feels like a Mutalisk reinforcement problem. And really, for being in a good position, is looking rather, I'm sorry, yeah, reverse that. Never mind! I had the teams backwards, because it's not the Terran that's really, it's the Terran that is, the Terran is really, I should say, it's Estro that has the Zerg player. Oh, man. One beer commentary for the lose. Okay, this is gonna